Start recording. All right. So let's see if there are any questions before I start. Audio. I said audio? That's interesting. Oh well. So anyways, that's impressive that it signed in as me. Anyways, so go ahead and go to the Meetup page. Go to where it says More Files. And click on this one. Click. When you do, it will download. And you can then copy it wherever you want locally. Remember where you copy it. Oh my, I have a lot of stuff open. And paste it. So I'll just grab my 3 files and put them on my desktop. Because why not? Just like everything, as you can see, it all goes on my desktop. So that's it. Those are my 3 files that I need. And the one I don't even really need, it's just the PowerPoint for today. But we're going to have 2 files that we're going to upload. Does everybody have the files or working on getting the files? Working on it. All right. Do we need to go over the process again? You're like, no, we're good. Thanks. All right. So while you're getting the files, let's take a look at some of the homeworks. So you can't even see mine on the screen, but that was mine. I thought I saw yours. And here are just 3 different examples that I saw throughout my goings through. Everybody did things differently. There are a lot of very interesting ways that people came up with creating their geometry. Some I would say were on the line of cheating for getting it done, but it was okay. It was all creative and within the rules of what I said to do. Beer pitchers, iced tea pitchers, Stein-looking things, all sorts of great stuff. So if anybody has questions on the homework, now's the time to ask. The way I was thinking people might do it would be to make this sculpted shape of the body, slap a patch on the bottom of it with the patch environment, and use the thicken command to give it some sort of thickness, and then just draw a spline for the handle, and there's a command that's something like project like path, construction plane along a path. And so you can click on it, and I think I showed it last week, where you can just guide it along the path, and then on that construction plane you can make your circle, draw your handle around, like sweep it around that path, and you're good to go. In 2 minutes you have your model done. But, you know, some people made it harder than that, which is good. This is a great learning experience. So before we go on, does everybody have their files downloaded? But not opened yet. That's fine. Let's see if everybody on here does. Yes, you do. Good.
Are you going to cover the combine command?
The combine command? Perhaps.
Okay, because I view that as the most useful command for creating this, for doing this homework, and probably useful for using the class.
Okay. We can look into the combine command. First, I'm going to scroll down and see if you did your homeworks. If you have something other than green there and you did it, it means I didn't find it, I didn't see it. Yellow means I'm saying you missed a step. Usually that step means you didn't decide to render your model, which really isn't such a big deal. And I still don't have access to your stuff.
I didn't do it.
Oh.
I left early.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Well, then that's a good reason. That's fine by me. Anybody else see anything wrong up here? Or their name not mentioned?
Yeah, did,
Do I have yours? I have blue because I said, I know you were there and I know you almost had it done when I left.
Yeah. I'm not sure why you're not seeing it.
What do you need?
One hour?
Do we have another
Is there another,
outlet
is there another,
somewhere, like
outlet we had? Yeah, Jesse was saying he was gonna go get a couple.
You can unplug mine.
No.
Yeah, you can unplug mine, and when I start dying, we can switch.
Yeah, we'll swap, okay.
You get it?
I'll get it, thank you.
All right. Do you have? Can you see your model in yours?
Yeah, I can literally see it. Go into this section to share it.
I wonder why. Yeah, share that with me. Okay. Wonderful.
Weird.
I'll scroll down. So if anybody else, let's see if there's anyone on this side that.
Mine's yellow. Should I render it?
Yeah, I don't really care, but I'll still give you a C for it.
Okay. It's all in C.
But since it's on pass fail, I don't really care.
If you're shared, if you're in the project, then I don't have to share each individual file.
Right. Yep. And it didn't work? Oh well. We can look at it later. If not, I'll just keep bugging you all the time. All right. Very good.
You're definitely a project member.
So going on to today's stuff, and this might take us a little while to do, so let's just keep moving forward. We can take a look at something like the combine command as well. But first we're going to be looking at our rocker assembly, so working through taking that sketch to a solid, and then different ways that we can manipulate the geometry to make it a solid. And that's just kind of warming us up, reminding us how to do the modeling. And then we get into the knife again, which last time we kind of made the sculpted shape. Some of us got it looking roughly correct. Most of us got it not looking all that good, myself included, but that happens. But we're going to turn that solid sculpted model into a hollowed out piece with this cool looking webbing in it and some other cool features going along with it, and then go through showing how we can change that sculpted model into something greater. So let's go and have everybody open up their Fusion software. And at this point, you should all have your files unzipped and placed somewhere, like I have them on the desktop. Hadoop, Hadoop, Hadoop. So I'm going to go to my Meetup folder, wherever my Meetup folder is. There we go. And I'm going to add a folder, and I will call it Class 4. And press Enter, and I'll double click on it, and I will click the Upload file, or the Upload button. And then I'm going to browse back to my desktop where I saved my files. I thought you were going outside to 3D print.
I haven't seen this.
Oh, okay.
Let's make sure I got the
Okay. And I'm going to choose 04 underscore model underscore from underscore sketch, because we're going to go from a sketch and turn it into a 3D model. And click Open and Upload. When you do that, you'll see the little progress bar going across the screen. Looks like things are going well here.
Model from sketch or from sculpted?
Sketch.
I somehow opened two Fusion windows at the same time.
I'm sorry.
I don't know why.
I don't know why you did that either.
Decided that you needed a saving one?
Twice the power.
Or, yeah, I think that's what.
Well, that could be too.
No, Fusion board?
And then wherever you put the zip file written down there, make sure it's extracted the zip file.
So did everybody in here get to sign in?
Yeah.
Not yet? You didn't sign in? Why did you not sign in?
Remember, after this, do I just click on this?
Hit set up. And then there's the clearance box.
So did everybody get the model uploaded?
Ball. You see that?
You're not sure.
Yeah.
All right, one more time. You go to your folder, your project. You create a new folder named Class 4. And in that folder, you click the upload button and browse to the file that you want to upload.
Drag here.
Which is the model from Sketchbook option.
Interface.
Interface issues?
Oh, click the select files, nothing much happens, and waiting for a while. I went off to Finder to try to force the issue. So there's a file, but then I come back here and that file box is gone. Oh, maybe when you close that, close it in Finder. So now, here, again, nothing, I'm going to try to exit, I guess, come back in.
Maybe you should close Fusion altogether and try opening it again. Everybody else have the file uploaded. Who does not have it uploaded?
Yeah.
Who needs help? Who, you don't count. Oh, it's just being slow. In the outside world, I think you're doing okay, right? Well done, everyone, outside world. I have faith you can catch up to us.
I'll do my utmost.
We're going to right-click on the file that we uploaded and choose Open. Somebody from the outside world, do you want to come in and grab the sign-in sheet and take it to people out there to sign in? They have no interest in us. They said we're the riffraff, and they're not interested.
Oh, that's great.
All right. So we right-clicked and opened. Did everybody open the file? I know this is the tough part of the class, so you should be struggling at this point. That's not entirely true. All right. So if we remember from modifying this in the past, we basically took this shape, made it bigger, and then we drew holes and cut them in. Well, this sketch already has those circles already in there, so we're going to select this geometry, and contrary to oftentimes when you can just keep clicking stuff, we have to hold the Shift button down and select the other three circles and leave those three holes that are hollow little circles there alone. And then we're going to choose to extrude. So under Modify, so under the blue stuff, not the purple stuff. That's not true. It's under Create. We're going to choose Extrude. So again, we have lots of different options that we can go to. Normally we just type in a distance and that's how far we go. Oftentimes we just go one-sided. Oh, look who it is. But this time we're going to go two-side. So we see we're going to define the distance that we're moving this. We could either type in a value, or instead of using distance as the extends option, we could use 2. So when we do that, we're going to actually have to reference some other sort of geometry or construction plane, sketch object, something like that, to define where we're going to extend our surface to. So if I click on where it says distance to that first box, I can then if I zoom in a little, I can hover over and I can see one little vertice on this sketch line. And when I click on that, it extends my model over to it. Notice it didn't pick that whole sketch line, it was just a point on that line.
There's a reason for that. I mean, I've noticed that kind of thing happens before where
I think it's probably because if you had like a slanted line, it doesn't want to try and get confused as to extrude to that.
What's our extrude?
So, yeah, we're going to 2.
So you left there by just opening that window.
Hold it, you can highlight that line.
That's a different one. That's from sculpted body. You gotta open it.
Hold on. So then to get to the second side, let's click on 2
I haven't gotten to the first one yet. How do you get the line out?
and click that dot. Now we'll go back and do it again.
Okay.
So you click on extrude, you change to 2-sided, and you choose 2. If this is symmetric, then it would be able to do that, and it is. But this allows you to have 2 different dimensions. So if one was 10 millimeters and one was 5 millimeters, you could extrude it that way then.
James, a question for you as we go by. I know
Uh-huh.
Alex out of the other room and I were wrestling with this the other day. If you're embedding your sketch in the center of something, how do you reach back in and grab an item on there after the fact?
That's a wonderful question. So I'm going to click OK and finish this, and let me turn that sketch, turn that sketch back on. Oh, that's wonderful. So if you look at my screen and say I wanted to select that face, I can left click and hold on something like this, and it goes through and asks you, what do you want to select? Do you want to select this face?
Yeah.
And you see it highlights in gray.
Yeah.
If you want to select that profile, which would be that center profile, which is the sketch, which is what you can't get to just clicking,
Yeah.
or do you want to select a different face that I'm trying to click through? So if I select that profile, you see it picks that center thing that we wanted to work with. So the left click and hold is key to selecting geometry that's not great. Uh-oh.
Well, when you ask a question, when somebody in here asks a question,
I have to repeat it? Okay. If only there was room for everyone to sit in this room. That would be a shame. All right, so... What's that? Yeah, they could. So again, the question was, how do you select something through the parts? So like this profile. If I left click and hold, it allows me to choose, do I want to select that face, the profile, or a different face? So selecting profile does it. Yeah, so when you extrude it, thank you, sir.
Both sides?
Any feedback, or are we good?
Give me some homework.
Okay. So when you extrude the sketch, it automatically hides the sketch that you just used. I'm not sure why. So if you click on the little drop-down button next to sketch, you can then turn the light bulb back on to show that profile if you want to. But every time you use it, it's going to re-hide it from you. Like you just consumed it, but it's still there. Yeah.
And now there should be another dot back there.
All right, so does everybody have their part extruded to where we want? Both sides.
Okay.
I know, really throwing a wrench in things.
There you go. So, a little shape.
And then hit the middle button. And now the
Oh, okay.
pro tip.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Which menu is that?
The one that said side face or...
So left click and hold if to get that menu where you select through. Left click and hold, and you can select what you want to choose. And we don't really have to choose anything right now. I was just showing how to do that. Yep.
I'm on 2 sides and I still don't only have 1 side. So we extruded one side. I can do it. Click on 2. Over here. 2.
on that.
Have it like pick a face,
Yeah.
hover over something.
You don't use the
And
mouse to
it's just-
do the trackpad?
Yeah, this guy.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And then you can hover over your face. So it's going to say that one
Or
or
the other.
or that.
And so James got back to the sketch in the center.
Okay, so then you can do the drop down to sketch. And then turn on that light bulb.
Ah.
That box.
And then you can highlight over anything else. Like you can click somewhere else. Yeah, or like pull down. And now you can hover. You have to let
So
go.
wherever
And then you
you're
can hover over and it's going to like pick the
over here,
No, I didn't do that quite right. So here.
instead of one-sided, make it two-sided.
But
And now click
And then you should be able to like
instead of distance, choose two. And now
you can be
click on that
you
one.
can move
Go to
around
the
and you
sketch
can
line
say,
and
yeah, I want to get that thing back there. You hover over.
yeah, okay. So I probably should, in the case of getting into a better position to select to.
I think it's because.
I guess the thing is, let's say you wanted to get that circle, right? And you end up hovering over here, and you're going for the circle. You press, you hold, you let go, and then you can say, oh, is it that face? Is it that close?
All right.
Yeah, okay.
Also, I forgot to mention that we implemented a new rule of only allowing myself to be repeated 3 times in class. Yeah, 3 times in class. So that's the new rule. One more time, 3 times. So we're going to be moving on to the next step because I think I'm at least 3 at this point. So what are we going to do? We're going to continue to manipulate this geometry. So what have we done already? We did two-sided, we did 2, we went to our endpoints, we clicked OK, and we got our geometry looking the way it does now. All right, so now what are we going to do? We're going to create more geometry. So to do that, we're going to highlight our sketch. So if you haven't been fiddling like I have, your model looks like this currently. Well, we want that profile back. So like I was saying earlier, once you extrude from a sketch, Fusion automatically hides that sketch. Like you kind of consumed it, so you don't need it anymore. Well, we still want it because we want to use it to change our geometry more. So I click on this little drop down next to sketches, and I click the light bulb to show that profile again. And so now I can see all of that sketch geometry still on my screen. And then I'm going to get into the front view. And the easiest way to do that is to click on the little view cube in the top right corner and choose front. We're going to start working a little more quickly in class now, and we're going to do that through the right-click menu. Okay, I know we're not actually going to, but in theory. So what we're going to do is select this circle that is filling that hole, and when you do so by left-clicking on it, it turns blue, and we're going to right-click, and you're going to see all of these great options available, and we're going to choose Extrude. And when you do that, you should have your Extrude menu that we just used pop up on your screen. And now this time, thanks for stealing my thunder, instead of using two-sided, we're going to use symmetric. And so now we only have to type in one distance, and it's going to extrude our circle the same distance on each side. So we go in distance, we're going to type in 20, and I'll just rotate mine around so that you can see, look at all of that great symmetric extruding that it does. And you can see, I guess I'll prove it to you. If I click, we're going to use the join command. I'm going to click OK. So before I prove the distance to you, we use the join command, therefore it's still one part. So it's still made out of the same material is kind of how I think of it. Back to the FEA stuff. It's still all one material that we're working with. Now you don't need to do this, but if I click on this face and rotate it around and click on this face, it should tell me, look at that, 40 millimeters. Because in fact that 20 is saying I want it to go 20 millimeters one direction and 20 millimeters the other direction. So it's not the total distance that you're extruding, it's how far on each side of the plane selected you are extruding.
Wait, so we extruded from the middle out?
We extruded from the middle out.
Okay.
So, so what is the, got on this side, I'm seeing again that with
The what?
here, can you use join very fast?
When I join was what it defaults to, so you're okay. All right, so next we're going to use yet another command to do pretty much the same thing, I believe. We're going to choose to create a cylinder. So to do that, it's under Create, and you see the option, the second one down, for Cylinder. My little notes say we're going to use the Cylinder command to cut a counter bore to the hole on the far left. So what are we going to do? Click on the outermost surface of your cylinder. So this is going to be a little bit tricky, I think, for some of you. You can see that as I move my mouse around, I'm hovering or highlighting different planes. Right now, you can kind of see on my screen that the plane that I would be clicking on would be the midpoint of my part, so that original plane that I was working on. What I want is to hover over this outside face and click on that. So we're going to be sketching flush with that face of the part. So when I do that, you can now see that the surface kind of highlights a funny color, and we're going to be creating geometry right there. Does everybody have that sketch plane created? All right, so let me zoom in a little bit here. Not yet. Everybody doing okay out there? Looks like you're okay. Good. So remember, we're still creating that cylinder. This is surprising. Sure. So let me go back. I'm going to Control Z. Okay, let me stop sketch and then Control Z. Oh no, Control Y. You do create cylinder so that we create that geometry, and we make sure to select this flush plane, like the surface of our rocker arm, and just click on that and you're good to go. So you can either be at an angled view, you can be looking at the front view, whatever's easier for you. I'm going to keep it at a little bit of an angle to show it, I think, more clearly, I hope. But since we're still defining our cylinder, we're defining the center point of it. If you go to that circle on the left, what I'm calling the left, and you're the frontish view, you can hover over the center and you'll see a blue circle show up. You can click on that and you've just placed the center of your circle. And then you can click and drag to define whatever diameter you want. And we want that to be 24. And press Enter. You can press Enter again, and it sets it. So right now,
This is a cut.
it's going to be a cut, yep. So I'm going to click and drag on the inside, and I'm going to just drag it in minus 10 millimeters. You could also type it in height and make that minus 10. So when you have something that's sketched or created like this cylinder on something that's solid and the materials or the parts intersect, it's going to automatically default that to a cut. It doesn't necessarily have to be what you use. You can change your operation to make it something else, but in this case we want to cut material away, so that's perfect, and we can click OK. And so now if you look at my part, you can see that minus 10 millimeter counter bore.
On one side.
On one side. That's a great point. And hopefully we can take care of that. So does everybody have that counter bore? Or close to it?
Yes.
Awesome.
Surprisingly, yes.
Surprisingly, yes.
And if I had my recommendation to tell the software developer of this product, I would like to have up and down arrows around the pump, the value up and
I
down.
think that is a reasonable suggestion. I would go to the idea station and submit it. Actually, I would. But that seems reasonable. Yep. All right, so let's get that cut on the other side as well because we love symmetry. So what are we going to do? Well, we could just do that same simple operation over there, but that would be far too easy. So what we're actually going to do is use the mirror command. So if we click on the create drop-down and choose mirror, you see that we have to choose an object and the mirror plane. Now something kind of funny is the pattern type that you're going to be working with. So if you can all keep your screen exactly where you have it, I'm just going to show you something different. If I would have gone down here and selected this cylindrical feature cut that I already did and then went down to mirror, you see that my object is already selected, and then I can choose whatever plane to use. But since I didn't do that, I'm going to have to try and figure out how to do that. Well, you can choose, instead of the pattern faces, you could choose pattern bodies or pattern features and choose what you're looking for. The best way to do it is down here on the timeline and just choose the feature that you wanted to select. So you can see that we're choosing the hole as the feature. Next, we're going to choose the mirror plane. And it's hard to see because I guess that's how we design stuff. But the origin plane is showing now because that might be what we want to choose. And in fact, it is. So I'm going to choose this plane right on the middle. And you can see that it's now projecting onto the other side what it's going to look like. And click OK.
So we turn off the body, so
Certainly. So if you're having trouble seeing, let me Control Z that. I'm going to again go through and use mirror. I'm going to select this object, and as the mirror plane, you could hide the bodies and select this plane, and then turn your bodies back on and click OK, and that cut has been cut. So now we have both of those counterbores. One little thing that I'm going to point out, let me see if I have questions first before I get into my side story. Nope. Is that I've run into this with a couple of people, at least, maybe more, where say you have a plate and you drill a hole into it, like you cut a hole into it, and then you use our threading feature to apply threads to that hole. Oftentimes people will then want to make a pattern of that hole around their part, but what they actually do is grab the thread feature and pattern that around their part, and then they call me and complain because the pattern doesn't work. And I say, well, you didn't actually cut a hole in that point already. Should we be smart enough to know that? Maybe. But if you take that hole and pattern it, and then pattern the threading, you'll see exactly what you want. Or potentially grab both of those features and pattern them at the same time.
would that be an application of the combine command, or could we combine the thread with the hole? And
You could-
only have one object?
You could combine them and turn them into one object to then pattern. But it would still be an additional step that they wouldn't take.
Yeah, I don't know if you were like stuck in a command or something like that. Escaping out of it should have worked. So now you're veered over to the other side.
I was struggling with that.
Click on this drop down. Go to create. Click on that drop down. Go to mirror. Click on that cylinder.
Mirror plane, the mirror onto this plane? Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah, that's the plane.
But we established in the class, it's an existential film.
I'm trying to mirror all that.
I asked them.
Because I didn't get my the second floor on this small screen.
You can't get the plane selected.
You can't get your plane selected?
We can edit the extrusion.
All right, so one more time I'm getting the plane selected. It seems like that's a trouble area. When you click on mirror, you select your object, which is that cylinder. You click on mirror plane, and you hide the body, and then you select the plane, and then you click OK. Well, it will, but...
I didn't think, I didn't know you were
I went to
Like many things in automotive environment, it's like an optical experiment.
Otherwise, yeah.
So, this,
All right.
this prism, and then
What is
being
optimized?
Quick question is optimize. I don't know what you're talking about.
On the
Mirror command, that's
on the
one.
mirror command, there's an optimize checkbox.
That's a heck of a question. I don't know. I feel like my mirror should always be optimized.
I don't know
So
what an unoptimized mirror is.
me neither, but that's a good question. I can look into that. Write that down, someone. Mirror optimized. But we're moving on. That's a good question. I've never even noticed it. All right. So next, what are we going to do? We're going to create another cylinder. All right.
And that's the question. They didn't get anything. What happened? What is this optimized business?
I don't know. That's what I said. On the mirror command,
Yeah.
mirror, this box that says optimized, I don't know what the hell it does.
Nobody knows.
That was the whole conversation.
Nobody knows.
No, that's okay. I don't, yeah, I never remember to repeat myself. Sorry. So next, we're going to create a hole. So again, another cylinder, not actually a hole, a cylinder. So under create, we choose cylinder. That's perfect. That's exactly what I need you to do.
Create cylinder on which plane?
Wait, what are we doing?
Creating a cylinder.
Okay.
So to do that, we go to create cylinder. And now we get to click on what plane we want to do that again. So I'm going to go to front view, and I'm going to click on that same plane that we were just on, and then over to the right hole, it's the slightly smaller one. I'm going to hover over that center point and click and drag, and this time I'm going to make this hole 10 millimeters and click enter a few times. And so if I rotate around, you can see this is really doing me no good, because I don't want geometry just randomly created. So I'm just going to click and drag this cylinder the opposite direction. And when I do that, just so as long as I'm through all of the material, our problems are solved. It's going to be a cut. It's removing material. It's not going to leave anything extra for me. And I'm going to click enter. And so if I go back into that front view, you can see I have that little bit of material from that initial cylinder that we made.
And then see that. Then you get the airplane.
I believe.
Then I just zoom in. I'm all PC. So zoom out a little bit. Maybe if I can scroll bar.
So is there best practices on when you do that touch? I mean, as long as we drag beyond it, it's okay, but if we go back later and.
Okay, so the question was, is there a best practices for the cut command, so just dragging through stuff? Sure, the more accurate you are, the better, but...
I'm just thinking about if later on I go back and make my rocker arm wider, a subsequent cut might not.
Right, so that's true. So if you make your rocker arm wider, it might not cut through. If you have additional geometry that you then add, it might cut through that. And that's where these little radio buttons kind of come in handy. So they're kind of hidden. So if I hover over the entire part, you can see that this radio button's active. That means everything in this model, in this whole model that I'm working on, if it's 1,000 parts, if it's one part, all of them are going to be affected by all of the commands that I do. If I only want one specific component, well, I don't have any components. If I only want one component to be affected, I could hover over it, and that same radio button would show up, and I could click that, and then that cut command would only affect that one component. So then you could just click and drag it like a fool, like I usually do. But when you forget to do that, then you're hosed. Right. But again, that has to be in the component phase, which requires us, don't do this, to right-click and choose to create component from bodies. So then you'd be able to do that hover, and it would be like a step down, like local variables. Yep. So right. So if we would hide, if we had two bodies and we hid the one body, then it also wouldn't cut it. So in Inventor, this is one of the differences from Inventor and Fusion. Inventor, there's a hide and show command, and there's also a suppress command, where you could hide something, but it would still be active in the model. In Fusion, the light bulb acts as if it's suppressing the part as well, not just hiding it. All right. Let's see if I have any questions here. Bueller? All right, moving on. So next, what are we going to do? We're going to create that big cut throughout the center. So remember how we got rid of all of that material? It turns out that I did it a much more difficult way when I did my example, but a number of you thought of doing it this way, so good for you. And what we're going to do is use our press pull command, and we're just going to choose this sketch that somebody's already nicely created for us and highlight it. And again, we can just click and drag and cut through our part. And click OK. So that would have been very easy for us to do. All it was creating a rectangular sketch. But since we've already gone through the dimensioning course, we all are experts at accurately dimensioning rectangles. So we don't need to go through that process again. We've also done this before from our homework, which is applying fillets. But that's okay. We're going to go ahead and practice it again just to make sure. So I could select this thing, rotate around, zoom in, hold shift down, select again, right click and choose fillet. And now I can fillet both of those together. Or I could go ahead and from the modify menu choose fillet, at which case I could select both of these lines, not very conveniently, and apply a fillet to both of them that way. Either way is good with me. You can click and drag and make these beautiful fillets. Things get a little bit wonky there if you pull on it too far, but that's okay. We're going to actually just make ours 2.5 millimeters and press enter.
Just in the spirit of interface consistency.
Uh-huh.
Fillet in the modeling environment is actually a different command than fillet in the sculpting environment. Because one is a 2D command and one of them is a 3D command, but you have only one command to do them.
Yeah.
You have two different commands for two different functionalities.
I think it's their way to save on how many buttons you have to click, but I can see where it would cause confusion. I've also run into problems where there's a fillet command for sketching, and I need to plug my computer in.
It's fine.
And then you still have the option kind of grayed out, and you get confused because why is my fillet grayed out? Well, there we go. All right, so we now have that cut and those fillets. Does anybody not have those done?
Where's your fillet?
Very small, here and there.
Oh, it's floated along.
Yours is frozen? Got it. All right, so moving on. Oh, we've successfully modeled it. That wasn't really exciting.
Oh, yeah, because you put 32 millimeters instead of...
That will do it. So everybody proud of yourselves? You got a finished thing? Pat yourself on the back? All right. But that was the easy one. Now we're going to move on to the more complex thing.
It'll freeze the system and you just have to leave it out.
So I'm going to close this.
Or it can say, I can't do it.
It's true. I don't care. If you want to, if you're really proud of your rocker, go for it.
I wouldn't want to lose, it's gonna be my.
Rah.
You know, I'd take this and put it in homework 2 and have homework 2 done.
You would.
You have to render it.
You would have to render it, though, or else you'd get a yellow box. All right. So next, let me see if there were any other questions. No other questions. All right. This one's more fun. So we're going to go ahead and click the Upload button. Select our file. And I'm going to find File, Model from Sculpted Body, and click Open and Upload. And we all just uploaded a file less than an hour ago. So I'm sure we will do this without problem. Right?
Yeah, put it.
Everybody uploading their file or have it uploaded?
Force quit Fusion. See how this- we're gonna save it.
Woo, mine's completed.
Save it, so you can just, force right now. Force quit. Since we're done with the model now.
I think you just hover over Fusion 360 and right click the folder.
Yeah, I can't tell you Mac commands.
You need a taskbar. Show up your taskbar on the time. Can you trade when his time is
Well, his is like frozen, so he has
Hover
to,
over that one.
he has to.
I had that today.
I feel like I have that every day.
But I'm glad I know to that on that.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's trying to be good, but
I mean,
it's
I like waited 20 minutes and they were
Yeah.
coming back and I'm like,
Alright. Yeah, whenever that happens, I just pray to God that it's saved at a point where auto saved that before going back to it.
It's so confused.
The first time that happened to me, I was like super deep into a detailed model, and it did that, and I'm just like, oh crap. And I just controlled deleted it, went back into the program, and luckily it was like 10 steps behind where I was, and so I didn't back.
So again, when you turn the light bulb off, it's suppressing the part, so it's not even there. So apparently it now doesn't even recognize it as.
It doesn't recognize that, okay, because you take away something from nothing.
Right. How's that front desk treating you?
pretty well.
Everybody have this file uploaded? It's going very well then. So we're going, oh, is it? Okay, so right click on the new model and open. And you're going to see the great sculpted body. Now we could all use the one we did last week if we really desired, but I think we're probably better off using this one. I mean, just saying. All right. Beautiful sculpted.
No, just a new file. Upload the other file.
Same folder. All right. So now what are we going to do with this? Well, we're working with a solid model, but all of our knives here, knives, they actually have parts inside of them, or at least room and less material. They're not solid things. They have razor blades in them, all sorts of good stuff. So we want to hollow this sucker out. So the best way to do that is to use the shell command. So under modify, we can go down to shell. There it is. And it tells us to choose our body. So I select the body, and again, I could click and drag, but we found that that has problems sometimes. It doesn't like that, so let's not do that. Let's just go ahead and type in a value of, I don't know, 2 millimeters apparently. 2 millimeters, and click enter. And we look and we say, well, that didn't do a whole heck of a lot. Well, if I turn my display settings, you don't have to do this, to shaded with hidden, now you can see that, in fact, there are other lines there representing the thickness of our part. So we did actually remove material. But we removed the inside, so we have a shell on the outside all the way around.
And my part, I'm gonna check that it disappeared.
How do you check that it worked?
Yes, it looks the same.
So if you go down to display settings, visual style, and turn to shaded with hidden edges, it should give you dashed lines representing that that's what that surface would look like.
We're getting a weird,
Did you choose a face? Okay, escape out of that stuff. Now try it again.
Modify shell.
So you have a face selected.
I have 2 chains.
Escape, escape, escape. So let's click on the drop down next to bodies and see if we can do it that way. So now go to shell. There you go. And do 2. So yours was selecting the face. Maybe you had to get it like turned a little bit more to like select the whole body. Yeah. You can also change your select option up here. So if you're having trouble selecting the whole body, you can change this drop down to selection filters, and instead of being able to select anything, you could choose to just select bodies, and then you'd be okay. But we want it to select all. Are you able to see your dashed lines?
go into your.
Well, yeah, you want to keep, oh no, you don't want the dashed lines, that doesn't matter. All right, so what if there were a better way to see that we put this shell on there? That would just be uncanny, right? Yes? Yes, thank you. Question?
How would you show that again? So go into your bodies.
Is that where we're going to just go to wireframe?
Sure.
Yep.
So you don't have to do
Click
that.
on that.
So next,
Okay, go up to modify. Hit shell.
no wireframe. Just have it look exactly like this. Just so you shelled it, you're good to go.
Okay. And then what was the shell?
2 millimeters.
Oh, 2 millimeters, yeah.
Hit enter.
All right.
There you go. On the inside is the shell.
Yeah. You can't.
And to double check.
All right. So your part was shelled, but there's only material missing from the inside. So if you look at, say, a nut with a shell on the outside of it, can you see the goodness on the inside? No, because you don't have X-ray vision. You would have to be able to look inside of that somehow. So that solid representation is okay with us. Now, what if we could look inside of that nut? Well, that would be like magic. Or it would be like the inspect command. So not inspect, the section analysis. So under inspect, you can click on section analysis, and you can choose a face. So if you choose a face like, it doesn't really matter, like whatever you have selected, it will hide that for you. So inspect, section analysis, and you can choose like origin planes or say surfaces of the body, like this, where now your part's kind of cut in half.
So it defaults to whatever the origin plane is.
So now I know in SolidWorks.
So click on the YZ plane, and then you'll get it the way it's on the picture. What's up?
So in SolidWorks, you can actually, when you shell, if you click on a face, it'll shell from that face on the inside.
Yep.
Can you do that in Fusion too?
Yeah, you can select the face and have it like chop that off and like shell from in there as well.
Okay.
Yep.
This is conceptually almost identical to the thicket. It's just
But different.
mathematically thickening plane with the moving with the solid. Yeah. So
Right.
thickened with this,
Right. Yep. All right. So with that face selected, we can click OK, and it goes back because, well, we're kind of stupid the way we do things, because we had analysis unlit. So if you click the light bulb next to analysis, you can now see your thing chopped in half.
Wait, so we press OK for the analysis.
You do. You click OK for the analysis. And then after you do OK for your analysis, you make sure that the light bulb is lit next to the analysis folder. Does everybody have the light bulb lit next to the analysis folder? Yeah, that's fine too. That's fine too. Just so it's chopped in half, we're all happy. We don't ask for a lot here. All right. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to make sure that our sketches are turned on. So we click the light bulb next to sketches, and wham! Look at all those great sketches we have in there. Looks like a razor blade. Looks like some other stuff just sketched in there. Pretty interesting. And so what are we going to do now? We're going to do a whole bunch of work to show off the web command. The web command is pretty slick. It's going to be able to take lines and thicken them to create geometry. You'll understand more when you see what we do here, but it's going to be awesome. Is everybody excited about that? Okay, so make sure you're in the right view so that it's flat with the screen and so that your part's chopped in half with the right view. Did you click the light bulb next to your analysis folder?
Section 3. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I don't know. That's what it does.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Just turn on.
Everybody have it chopped in half? And then you turn sketches on. All right, so everybody, if you don't have it chopped in half, but you did the section analysis, make sure your analysis thing is highlighted, the light bulb next to analysis. If you don't see your sketches, make sure the light bulb next to sketches is lit.
So can you manipulate your analysis? Can you edit the analysis so it's under a different plane?
You could.
But I'm okay, I'm just going to work on the other side. That's
All right, we'll go with that. Sure, it'll work the same in theory.
Let's find out.
Yeah. Yeah, the projector effect. Yep.
It just means you can make extrusion from it.
All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to create a sketch, and we're going to sketch a line. So under the drop-down, we choose line. And we're going to choose this nice plane that's parallel. So the one that highlights like a plane in the middle of our thing, just click on that. And now that's defining where we're going to sketch this line. Are you sketching? Yep, we're sketching a line. So you're going to click on under sketch, click on line, and then click on the plane parallel to us. Right there. So we're not any further yet. So then we're going to zoom in, and we're going to try and select one of these grid points, like right here. Now if you're having trouble selecting grid points, it could be that you do not have snap to grid turned on. So here where it says grid and snaps, you can click on the little drop down and you make sure that you have a checkbox next to Snap to Grid. Now normally I don't use Snap to Grid because it's a big pain in the butt. Like it'll just keep making your sketches not accurate when you're trying to connect to other lines. But in this case we want to snap to the grid, so it's good. And we're going to hover over this point right by, well, still didn't do it, right by where the tip of the blade is. Or the corner of the blade is, yes. So with that point selected, we have to define the second point of our line. And we're going to make that. It doesn't really matter that much, but we're going to do it like it tells us. We're going to draw it across so that it exits the other side of the solid object. So you can see, I started right here. I drew my line straight across until it came out the other side of the solid.
And it says 0 degrees.
0 degrees. Yep, 0 degrees would be good. What's that? So to snap to grid, you go down here at the bottom to grid and snaps and make sure that you have a check mark next to snap to grid.
How critical is that point that's in front of you?
Not that critical.
Just
Showing off that feature. After you click those 2 points, just click escape, and then you won't be in line command anymore.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to make a second line. So to do that, we're going to right click and we're going to choose the repeat line command. So that's just another way to quickly use a command that you previously just used. So instead of going to sketch line, we can just right click and choose repeat line. And so now we're going to create one perpendicular to the line that we just created. I think that's what we're doing. Oh no, we're just repeating what we did down here. So down at the bottom, we're going to snap to one of these points right by the end of the blade. And again, we'll just sketch a line. If you get BitLocker, just click postpone. You're going to sketch a line. Tab 0 over here. So again, we just sketched a line from one side of the part to the other. So since we're working on using the webbing command, we're going to turn these lines into solids. And you're going to see how to do that pretty soon. Try and make them 0. All right. And so now we just have one more line left to make. So again, I'm going to right click and choose repeat line. And this time I'm going to actually make the perpendicular one. So I lied last time, but that's okay. And so at the end of this snap point, or at the end of this line, I suppose it is, so how many sketches are we back? That one?
Really to like the first one.
All right, let's start sketching all over again. That's okay. So why not start from the beginning? So sketching, click on the drop down and choose line. Then there's going to be a plane parallel to us. We click on that and we zoom in, and generally speaking, get to this snap point right above the corner of the blade. So we click and zoom out, and we draw a straight line, let's say, to right there, and click escape. Do we have that first line drawn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so, yeah, so the first line you escape.
Escape.
Let go.
Yep. Now you draw a second line.
Still the same sketch.
I don't know if you heard about the Storm lights, $300 electric lights.
Really?
Yeah, they just got sued for fraud.
Click another point. Draw that line
That's a very much change. Something for-
through to the other side at 0 degrees, and click. And click escape. And then repeat one more line that's perpendicular to these two. So I'm just going to click on that point and snap it here, and you can see it's perpendicular because of that little blue perpendicular icon. And click. Whew, that was difficult. 3 lines. All right, does everybody have 3 lines drawn
In one sketch.
in one sketch that are parallel? 3.
And that one doesn't extend all the way through. I have 2.
That one does not. It just is snapped to these 2 parallel lines.
Okay.
Outside seems to be doing okay, so that's good. And now we're going to use the amazing web command. It's amazing. Nope, I just escaped out of it. But now, yeah, you're right. Stop sketch. You could do it from that interface as well. It would automatically stop it for you. But go ahead and choose Stop Sketch.
That's not all across.
And then under Create, choose the web command. And when we do that, click on the 3 lines that we just created. So it changed some of those together for me. And now I have all 3 of them highlighted in blue. See how my lines are all blue and there's an arrow pointing up?
Do you have 3 lines or 2?
I certainly have 3 lines. 2 like this, 1 like that.
And we got to that from where?
Create what? Right?
Yep.
Create.
So to do a web, you click on Create, choose Web, and then you select your lines. Nope, you just have to click them. Yeah, you only have 2 selected because it chain selects those first 2. And now we're going to type in a value, and I feel like it's probably 2 millimeters because that's what we tend to like today. So if we type in 2, look at that. Pretty neat, right?
And nothing else changes, symmetric and all that.
Right. But you can see that the web command is smart enough so that the only place that it makes our 2 millimeter thick webbing is in that solid model. So the lines that go outside of the solid don't get that webbing placed on them. So it's just happening on the inside. And we can then click Enter. Or OK. OK is also acceptable.
Highlight. Turn on Sketch 32.
3 lines.
Yeah. Okay.
Did everybody get their web created? No. But it's not visible?
Yeah, as soon as I put 2 and enter, it's gone.
Actually doing it, don't have selection yet. Go to Create. So I just escape. Or just click the line. And create the line.
Yeah.
Oh, create web with these things.
And I do shift and then click that bottom one.
Yeah. Seems to me too.
It says that you created a web. It's really weird. Look on the other side. Turn your viewport and maybe like you make
We're down on front.
Turn on your section 3.
You mean a little bit?
Yeah. Turn on that analysis.
I'm on the
Yeah. No. On the other side. Yeah.
Oh, highlight.
Highlight that.
Oh,
line. Okay. No, you know what I think? When you made your web, it looks like it went to the other part of your analysis and not to that part of your analysis. And so, command, was there an option to go both sides?
All right.
You might have
Well,
3 lines highlighted.
All right. So for everyone who's not getting it done, you have yours looking like this probably, correct? Yes, James. Okay. So what you're going to have to do is when you use the web command, you're going to have to click this flip direction button. So your parts, it would be invisible without that. So
Where's the flip direction?
right here under web, flip direction. So how I have mine facing this way, all of my lines are based off of my geometry being this way and my analysis trimming this face off. So if you have it opposite, you need to use the flip direction button.
I'm not even seeing a web window for this. Where's the, oh, now I see it. Okay.
So the window
And then
itself is
flip direction. There you go. Now hit OK.
back in the. Double click on.
Yeah, right click and edit.
Yeah.
That gives you that.
Well, and then it's like, it doesn't keep the window in the same spot. It'll kind of randomly generate it.
Yeah.
So.
And there's on the window.
Yeah, and keep it to one spot. There might be an option in the.
Yes.
So now you have to right click and edit your web. No, you're going to have to recreate it on the other half, which is what we're going to do now. You did. Thanks a lot. All right. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and make that webbing on the other side. So the question was, since we're looking at the inside, does this web expand through the whole inside? And the answer is no. So this time we're going to create the webbing on the other side. So the people that had to click flip direction last time probably won't have to this time. And the people like me who didn't have to will have to click it because we're now making it on the other side in the other direction.
Can't we just mirror it?
You could probably mirror it, but that wouldn't teach us to do this command again. So on the analysis, here where we have section 4, we're going to right-click and choose Edit. Now you see that we have one selected. Let's click that red X, click, and go to your opposite view. So now to the left, and now select that plane again. And it's going to chop off the other side of your body. So now we're looking at the other side of the knife.
My analysis does not have a section.
Yeah, yours has a section 3.
Right. So what do we do to make it?
You don't need a section 4. Yours is just section 3. Mine section 3 was one of the 2 or 3 times I went through the process.
Okay.
How do you know what you're clicking on? So when you edit,
You see it on the screen.
you click here.
No, you click on, what are you doing?
I just flipped it over. I went right here, right.
Okay.
Let me go
I
back.
can only get you so
So
far.
go here, edit.
Click on that red X, and now choose that plane, the YZ plane. So we're choosing the YZ plane.
Sorry.
We're choosing the YZ plane because that's that midpoint that's going to chop the whole knife in half. So when we select that plane, anything that it would be touching, half of it is gone.
What's the step right before that? Select the YZ plan. I flipped it around.
Oh, yep. So you right click and choose edit. You click that red X so that you can select a different face on analysis 4 or analysis 3 or whatever analysis you're using. Click on the red X next to faces.
So how did he end up with two different sections? I've got two different sections that are not in the same plane. So Scott, you show that one, you show this one, you edit it?
Well,
Edit it,
Z. Yep.
face,
and then go to YZ.
All right. Do we all have our thing chopped? I've repeated 3 times, so we're moving on. And so fortunately, we already did all of the sketching already. But remember how I said it always hides it once you use it up? I'm going to have to expand my sketch menu and click on the light bulb to show that sketch again. But since it was drawn right there on the midplane, it's going to be accurate for this part of our work as well. And we're going to use the flip command again, or the web command again. So under create, we choose web. Oops. And you see that I get this message that says, the rib cannot be created, ensure profile curve can intersect body, or flip the direction. So when all of you are having trouble, you could have read that message and decided to flip the direction. And it should give you what you want. So let me go through and click the proper lines this time. Choose flip. Jeez. And then click OK.
close here.
So let's struggle through this one again.
So I don't have a plane to draw. So if I already got it, second, ready, right click, edit.
And then I don't have a plan to sit down, edit your selection.
Yeah.
So your selection face, right click on edit. Edit. And then
Fortunately for us, we don't have too much more to do on this exercise, so that's good news.
select YX.
Everyone doing okay on this side? No?
Over here.
Yeah.
I didn't even sure I did the lines.
I look at that whenever we're done.
You can. Gladly.
Or,
Sure.
Flip the lines.
You can have it.
We'll make the web first.
Oh, okay. Well, then ignored.
Now I see it says symmetric post. Click on the three lines. It didn't have to rotate this time because neither line.
Am I leaving the one?
No, thank you.
So then, is it okay on here? Okay. Do that highlight.
And you're just unwrapping.
I'm thinking, I'm wondering, so.
Directions always get you. Always stuck on the directions.
mine doesn't flip, I'm trying to both ways, mine doesn't flip.
Printing like this. We're working with STLs before.
Yours looks really strange. Oh, your body is hidden, isn't it? Click on that light bulb, or not that light bulb, that drop down. I don't know where that body is. All right, moving on. One more time. I think everyone should invest in a mouse. That's what I'm going to buy everyone for Christmas, is a mouse.
I'm allergic to.
I agree.
I
I have extras if you want.
Turn the sketch on.
Yeah.
I'll use the web command on this line.
See how you can.
Maybe two.
And then you go.
Hold on 1 second. Type in the two. Nope, okay. Go for it. What's up?
I need that,
Backwards.
no,
No.
I
You mean-
need the web curves in the center plane. So as I'm trying to make it rib again, on the other side, it's just not doing it because it was already ribbed. Is that possible?
It shouldn't be. Did you flip your thing around and do a new analysis?
I did that on the first one, and it worked, but now that I'm in the right.
Did you click the flip direction button?
Yeah.
And it doesn't work?
It was only up and it wouldn't click.
Would you like me to come look?
That's it, that's it.
Sure. Hold on, everyone. I'll be back in 2.1 minutes.
Point one precise. Point one. Looks like you already have both your webs. So. Yeah. Now, go
You could computer.
double check. So, cross out of that.
So what are the?
When you're done, you can the bills will come back. Right.
Oh, see, like here.
Okay, now we have the last. And then the.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing if it, oh. Yeah, but it did.
So that's going to do the web originally.
Yeah, it looks like that's happening.
Which is the way you normally do it. You're doing it.
Yes.
We can auto save. Well, there's a quirky thing about this. You know, so you get that nice step thing for the progress bar, and then, but it's a horrible, there's a terrible problem in this. No, glitchy horrible. And that is, if you're in the sculpt environment, you can do many, many, many commands, but they aren't actually recorded as individual steps in the progress bar. So, but here's the problem, is that you could do like 5 commands in the sculpt menu, and you get one wrong. You could only delete the whole step. You can't step backwards to a sculpt menu.
All right, we're moving on. I swear we're moving on. I lost my papers, but we're moving on. All right, so where am I? Where am I? Aw.
No, I did not change the order. I did not change the order.
All right, moving on. Blah, 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 blah. Where are we? All right. So in this view, we're going to create a hole. Not really, it's just a circle. So we're going to create sketch, circle, center and diameter circle. Like I always say, I like using center and diameter. We're going to use that same plane that we've been using. And we're going to draw right where those webs come together. So it should snap right to it there for you. And we're going to make an 8mm circle and press enter a couple of times.
Sketching this?
We're sketching it. Sketching. Sketch. What are you saying? Are we still in the model? Yeah, we're still in the model. Yeah.
Or we're just under sketch.
We're sketching. Yep, we're sketching the crap out of a circle.
What's the damage?
8. Oh, right here. Snap to where those lines all come together. Make an 8mm circle. And then stop the sketch. We only have like 12 steps left, so don't get frustrated. That was for me, not for you. Ah, get it? No, okay. All right. So now we're going to select the entire circle, and we're going to choose the extrude command. So with extrude selected, we're going to change our direction from one-sided to symmetric, and we're going to type in a value of 19. Why 19? I'm not really sure. Now don't click OK. We're not cutting material. I know somebody clicked OK, but we're going to change our operation to new body and click OK. At which point, if I rotate around, you can see that I have a circle sticking out of this part.
What was the distance? 19?
19, symmetrically.
You just extruded that circle?
Extruded it as a new body.
So you can, so question, clarification. You can either go create or extrude, or you can go modify, press pull, and do they do the same thing?
So the question was, you can use create, extrude, or modify, press, pull. Do they do the same thing? Pretty much, yes. So extrude does for the most, well, you want to, you, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, to an extent. So with extruding and push pulling for sketches, they do pretty much the same exact thing. For sketch. Yeah.
Okay.
But if you were to want to modify an existing surface, then you would use the sketch, and then that would extrude out from that existing surface. Modify the surface.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an all-in-one command, press pull. So you can click on an existing surface and extrude something further. You could click on the edge of a circle and you could apply a fillet with it. It's kind of like a catch-all command that does a bunch of different features. Press pull. Extrude only extrude shapes.
Okay, extrude is very three-dimensional.
Three-dimensional.
Almost two-dimensional. Okay.
It's only two-dimensional, right. You're only extruding.
It's only two-dimensional, where press pull could be.
Multiple things. Fillets or extruding or other things.
I'm trying to select a circle, and I guess it's because the curves here, do I have to drop the sketch? Because otherwise it chops it into pizza slices.
You can select it. You can use the shift key and select all of the pizza slices and then extrude it.
My extrude to the other side, is that okay?
Yep. Extrude to symmetrically and you're good to go. All right.
So the first time you all you started the cutting process?
But we don't want to cut it. We're making a new body. So next, we're going to create a hole. And this time when I say create a hole, we're actually going to create hole. So we can see that cool functionality. And we're going to go and hover over that circle on the other side. If you can see my screen, you see that cylinder poking out?
Yeah.
We're going to click on that. But we want it centered. So instead of doing it inaccurately like me, have that nice flush view, right or left, whichever one you've decided to work with, and hover over it till you get that center circle, and click. That's not accurate at all. I lied.
You're creating a circle?
Create a hole, and on this surface. We're going to make it a counterbore type, and we're going to make it 28 millimeters deep. So you see you have a couple values to type in. We're going to say 28. We're going to make it a counterbore, and we're going to make the diameter 3.
Is tip angle or any of those?
You can change all of those, but we're going to just leave them the same. So depth 28, diameter 3. What wasn't the issue? Excuse me?
No, I like,
Good.
We'll see.
And what was the define
Have a little hole through that great big.
Got in trouble.
Yeah, we're gonna scrape. Oh, right. This is the hole for the screw the hole to that.
Control Z tab. Another circle on the surface, and we're going to make another sketch.
So the first thing you do
You selected yourself. Now you should be able to take that, but you're going to have to, you might have to get your sketch, right? Oh, you can just go with create.
Put something on
You can't find the sound.
I think what's
Wait, or you can't find the center.
Just rough it out. All right. Oh, yeah, I didn't do all that right. Sorry, but that's okay. I don't really care that much.
Diameter was 4, right?
I think it was 3, but that's fine. All right, we're going to now use the split body command. Defaults are great. It doesn't matter. So defaults are wonderful values. So we're going to split the body. Modify, split body. And now you can see in the menu, you choose the body to split and the splitting tool. Well, we're going to split lots of bodies. So we're going to split the knife in half. And to do that, we select the whole thing. I'm going to actually turn my analysis off. So you see the little light next to analysis? I made sure mine was turned off. So I select the whole knife body. And now I'm going to choose my splitting tool, and as my splitting tool, I'm going to choose the YZ plane. at the origin. So to split a body, you go to Modify, Split Body. You can select the whole knife and then choose Splitting Tool and either select the YZ plane here, or easily you can see it in the origin and click YZ, and you'll see this big red circle show up. And then click OK. And so now in our bodies, you see that we have body 1, body 45, which is our cylinder, and body 1 with another one in parentheses, which is like where we split it. So half, half, and cylinder. But that's not good enough for us. We want more bodies. So we're going to right-click and choose Split Body again. And this time we're going to split that circle in half, or that cylinder in half. Yep, repeat Split Body. Choose Body 45. And again, select the splitting tool to be YZ. And click OK. And now you see we have 4 bodies. Why did it name it differently this time? I don't know. That's what we do.
Would you intend to have done that if all the bodies were selected at the same time? Are we repeating on purpose? Or because we missed one of them in the first selection?
I don't know. Don't undo this. You guys just keep doing whatever it is you do. Well, my Control Z isn't working, so there we go.
Body 47.
I think it would be, I think that the internal
Splitting tool, like how do you,
because
you have both splitting tool.
you must do it, you have to do a splitting behind, and you just, because the
Oh,
one
you
that
have
you
to
have to go.
jump out.
Looks like it works.
You have to know to,
Yeah,
I don't know,
I don't know. It looks like it works to me.
I'm operating the software from other side.
All right.
yeah, I did.
Moving forward, we're going to use the Combine command. Aren't we talking about this?
Yes, right.
So under Modify, choose Combine. And what are we going to do? We're going to choose a target body and a tool body. So first select the knife half, and then you're going to choose probably the circle half, I'm guessing, the cylinder half. Makes sense to me. So you can see that I have the cylinder and the knife half selected that go together. And I'm going to use my operation as a join. Bless you. You do also have options like cut and intersect. We're not going to do that now, but you could play around with them. We're going to, bless you, just use join and click OK. And now instead of 4 bodies, we're down to 3. And we're going to repeat that command. So right click, repeat combine, and choose the other 2 bodies that go together and click OK. And we're back to 2 bodies. So we just split stuff and made 4. We combined them and made 2 again. But instead of having the knife and the cylinder as the 2 bodies, we've now combined it so that it's half of a knife with half of a cylinder and another half of the knife with half of the cylinder.
So what's the purpose of splitting and then combining them?
So if we were actually making the knife, it wouldn't be one solid body. I guess they kind of combine together and snap together in that fashion. But we're also going to then manipulate this cylinder in a different fashion to change our geometry. And it has to be combined in that fashion.
Now which bodies are we combining now? Body 1 and body?
So make sure that this half is combined. So this cylinder and this half of the knife are one body, and then this cylinder and this half of the knife are a body.
no, I think I've got to put one up the bottom.
So with them combined, I'm going to select these extra chunks of cylinder and press delete.
You just shift.
Yep, use shift.
That's a pro tip. You click on that body.
So could we, with the cylinder that we extruded in, couldn't we have just instead of deleting that, could we extrude to that surface,
Yeah.
the inner surface?
Yep, we could have used an extrude to command.
Yeah.
I think they were just showing that to delete as well as to make it easier to select the surface maybe for the counterboard.
That's definitely just good thing to
That's
show.
just one piece.
The Extrude 2 command?
Well, no, the,
Split.
how you just get the
Oh,
Finalize
right.
circle wheel.
So again, just because it's sitting there, it didn't have to delete the whole cylinder. It's like 1,000 in here. It just deletes those that are like hanging off the edge, like they're its own chunk. Kind of like you would do with your base. If you would have, in the base homework, made your spline and drawn through and then swept through a cylinder, you could have just selected those little chunks and deleted them off. Just like that. All right, we literally have 8 steps to go, so we're almost there. 8 steps to go. So what are we going to do? Well, we're finished with webs and holes. We're now going to modify our sculpt geometry. So if we go back to the line, you see the purple ball? We can right-click and choose Edit, and it takes us back here to Sculpting Land, all of our favorites. So I have mine in the left view. So I'm going to actually manipulate this geometry. Even though we added webbing to it, we shelled it out, we put a cylinder with a counterbore in it, we're still able to go back and manipulate this geometry. And then in theory, we're able to see it update automatically. Everybody in the sculpt environment that wants to be there? Okay. Ugh. So we're going to choose the bottom face, like here-ish, and I'm going to right-click and choose Edit Form, and click OK. And now I'm going to use the arrow to change my surface. Bloop, 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 bloop. I could make it as big as I want. I'm just going to make it -5. So -5 millimeters, just to bump that shape out a little bit. No, mine didn't do too much either. But don't worry. We're then going to select these lines and Edit Form. And we're going to drag this edge down -5. And you can see the change in shape there. So it's a more pronounced little bump there so that we don't chop our finger off, I assume. Safety first in this class. I just did a box select through, so I selected that one and the one on the other side. I think this is already set up so that it's symmetrically doing it anyway, so you don't have to worry about it. But just to be safe, I selected both of those lines.
Even though we have 2 bodies, right?
Right.
And then
But the two, yeah.
I'm not able to get.
The sculpt environment,
I think
that purple ball down here, right click and choose sculpt.
yeah, big ad.
Oh, yeah? That's a piece of magic.
So if your view's all jacked up, it might be that your display settings aren't set to something nice, like shaded with visible edges only. Yeah? Is that what was happening with yours? I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't know what's happening there. So I'm going to finish my form, and when I do, you could see that little green line saying updating. Nobody was watching, but if you were looking, you saw it. And you can see that that bump and the other geometry changes automatically transferred over. And if you look at these, well, you can still see that the webbing and everything else, bless you, is still involved in our model. So who needs help with sculpting or getting to the sculpt environment and manipulating it? If anyone.
Okay, so now in my area. How did he manipulate the, ah, okay.
I think you moved that one up.
Yeah.
Yeah, with- So that's really the one. And then you pull that down.
One of these.
No, the one that goes
We're small.
This one.
the one that's still.
Double clicking the select both of them. Do it again here.
Or you can just do
Blue thing.
-5.
Nothing much happened.
Yeah, so
I can't get this independent. I'm unclear what happened.
I got a long way to go.
Okay. So that's you for mine.
Yeah, it did, it did.
Change that out. On my phone, yeah.
Okay. So click on delete those two for.
That's fine.
Yeah, click on that face.
you can just grab the arrow and.
Yeah, I'm just kind of,
See, like,
just looking around and see.
Yeah, click on that.
You did a bunch of them.
I think the only problem is if you go too far, it like.
Okay. And now go back, click on this ball, right click on it.
I am satisfied.
Okay. And now you're in the form. Okay, now go into your view.
Do.
Display settings, yeah, go into visual style. And then go to shade, hidden edges. And then that'll show you all your edges. And then you select them and you can modify just so that you can okay.
You had selected two of the ones that were wrong. The mine strategy.
Work.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I have some extra free button mice. Would you like one? Sure. How can I get to you?
And then
Kind of select it like
Okay. What time of the day?
part of
Just leave it in the
the.
makership office.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
look your name on it.
Yeah, sure. What's the name?
Yeah.
Hey,
Select this, like that part.
ALW.
Yes.
Okay. I will do it.
I appreciate it.
Sure. That's why I have a drawer full of them. It's like they're no value to me, but it's good to have them spread around.
All right. Before we go on with any questions or anything, let's move on to homework for next week. Well, hold on. Let me make sure there aren't any questions here first. Okay, I answered that already. All right. From current slide, homework for this week. As I was running out of ideas for homework, you're going to model something from my house.
Oh.
You can pick. I don't really care what you make. You want to make that? Seems pretty easy. It's a block. It has some holes in it. It has some knives in it. Want to make my paper towel holder? Looks pretty easy. sweepy cylinders. Want to make a growler? You could fill it with beer. That's easy. That's just like we did last time, except that it has these fancy metal things. Make that thing match up. How about a wine bottle holder or with corks? Pretty easy. But each one of them, you look and it's like, it's a pretty simple shape. But then you think about it and it's like, well, maybe it's not quite as easy as it looks. At least I don't think it's quite as easy as it looks.
I agree with you.
Thanks. Now, it doesn't have to be exact. You don't need all the little like leaves or whatever is on that thing. You don't have to have it match up perfectly, but try your best to make it match one of these things. I don't care which one you pick. I know all the other exercises have been pretty easy for you for homework. You've been like, it took me 2 minutes, I learned nothing. Well, this one might be a little more challenging. And you don't have to ace it. Just try your best to model one of these things. It's 2 hours. You don't have anything better to do.
Do we have to, two questions. Do we have to use the tools that we learned today, or it doesn't matter?
All of the tools.
I think it's cheap.
And the second question
Use
is,
any tool you want.
do you have this links on your Meetup?
It'll be on Meetup tomorrow or the next day, whenever I get around to creating the next Meetup.
So we have to wait until.
You downloaded the PowerPoint already. You can open that and look at it.
Oh, okay.
So any questions on the homework that can be found in the PowerPoint that you downloaded or that you could get from the Meetup site. All right. So for those of you who are hungry and tired and hot, you can feel free to go home. For those of you who have more questions, you can feel free to stay and ask me them. But next week, exciting renderings and drawings. So that's going to be a lot of fun because drawings are kind of cool and renderings great.
What were the rest of the 8 steps? What were we gonna
Take that one.
Oh, no, I'm not saying like actually, I'm saying click OK is a step. Draw a line is a step.
So go back to the knife. You had 3 circles. Were they?
That's further work. Yeah, that's going to be grippy things. Yeah, for the full version model of it.
Would that have been done with extruding? Or?
Yeah, you could just chop those suckers out of there. So, where are we here?
Not that I want to go above on what you want to do.
No, of course not. Yeah, but right here, you could just, whoa, why am I, press pull, I could select all of these guys, and if you pull it through,
No.
you can see that then you have the little grips. And so then if you were rendering it or something, you could put like black on there and it would be like the black plastic or something. But yep, you could just cut it through and
This
So,
thing.
a question
I
on
learned to make
rendering.
this,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't know how to make it, so I just spent a good couple of hours just banging my head against it
That means you
until I
can't
was
give
able to
them
make
separate
this,
rendering.
and
Is that
then I
correct?
rendered it. And then
right, sort of.
this is
So,
a project.
If you do your rendering and appearance
It's a mount, so
by
you attach it, you glue it onto an iPhone case, and then
body, then no. But you can give individual faces different colors as well.
yeah, that's it.
So then if you went to that cylinder and dropped it just on that surface, it would be colored differently.
And I remember they were saying like, hey, if
Well, that's for next class. We're not supposed to talk about that
you
now.
feel like you had a job that really didn't utilize your
And then if you start by
talent,
just eyeballing it,
so like really spoke to me.
Hmm?
I feel like a
Oh, and I can stop my recording now.
One bike shop, so I really